Okay.
I'm going to share my screen here. And there is Stella. Okay. All right. So let me move this down to here. So today what we're going to do is we're going to look at how to actually bring up properties that you're about to show someone and to do a search for a client. I'm just going to give you a random example, and then after I give you a random example, we can get very specific.
Okay.
Um, so, um, so when you're in the your MLS, you would go to first thing you would do would always add your client as a contact. So you'd go to on that says matrix and contact, and then you'd add to the right over here. You would add, hit the click add, and then add in their client's first name, last name, email address, whether they're buyer, seller, what, and save it. That's how you add someone to your contacts inside of the MLS. And boom, that's how that would work. Now, so once they're added, you're good. But to actually look at a search for what they want, you would go to the at the very top menu of the Stella. It's my MLS, but there's of the and then you go to search. You go to residential details. That's what you want, and that's where you click that button, and that should take you to this screen, which is the matrix screen for your property search. If you're searching on a property, obviously you want active property, so this default will always default as active for you. So that's all you want. You're not searching for properties that are sold or expired or pending. You just want actives. Then this is where you're putting the criteria. If the client's looking for something between 300 to 500, you would type that in. If the total amount of bedrooms they want is three, you could put three or you could put three plus. It just depends on what you're looking for. If the total number of full baths is two, it could be two or two plus, just depending on what you want. If there's a certain parameter for the square footage that you want for the home, this is where you would add that in, 19,000 plus or whatever. You type that into that value. The plus means it can go up to anywhere, any amount. And there's always an information bar when you've clicked into that section, it tells you what how to do it right there below. See, when I click into it, it gives you this information, or you can click right there, the question mark, and it gives you
Yep.
an explanation. So that's kind of how that works. This is the square footage for heated. Um, and then if you're interested in only properties based on when it was built, this is where you would put in the year built. I want properties built from 2015 on up. Just as a side note, here in Florida, the building codes actually changed and got better in the year 2002, 2005. So the we our building codes really improved to be more hurricane resistant construction. So I typically like to put my clients into properties that are built from 2005 on up, unless they're just looking for something older that they're willing to renovate. But the construction and the way we built homes in Florida really improved as of 2004, 2005. So just as a side note, so you'll know that that's why I tend to do that for my clients. If you're looking for new construction, you'd say if you're not, you'd go no. Not all new constructions properties are listed in the MLS. So don't think because you say, yes, I want new construction, that you're getting all the new construction showing up in here. Most builders don't put
Oop,
all of their
hello?
inventory inside of the MLS. And so you may not see everything by doing that, but I would still do it or just leave it blank, and that way it shows you both. If you don't say yes or no, it will show you new construction and resale. If it's necessary that you have a pool, this is where you would answer it, yes or no. If you say leave it blank, it will give you both homes with or without pools. And of course, acreage, the size, and all that kind of stuff. If you're trying to put in, if you need a certain amount if you need a garage, or how many garage? Well, I want at least two put the number there. If they need three or three plus, you can put that there as well. Um, it will tell you garage. Yes or no. If you leave it at blank, it will give you both. Homes with garage, how many spaces? This is where you put the number two or three or whatever, how many garages you actually need. Is it attached or not attached? Just leave it blank if it doesn't matter. You Most garages though will be attached to the home and not disattached. So that's how you kind of set that up. In here, you would put in, obviously it defaults, your MLS defaults to your state already. So it's no big deal. If there's a certain zip code that you're looking in, you would then type in that particular zip code and it will show you there's that. So you're now searching in the 34211 zip code. If you want to do more than one zip code, you would click to the right of that, those little whatever symbols there, and it shows you already you're searching in the 242211 zip code. But if you want to add another one, let's say you want to add 34202, you just typed it in the search bar. There it is. You would add it, then you would slip it to that side. And then
Gotcha.
when you hit OK, now you're searching in two zip codes. If you don't want that one, the one that's highlighted, you can hit remove and it goes away. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Good, good, good. All right. So basically, if you're searching in one or two or multiple zip codes, that's where you would enter it under the MLS zip codes. If there's a certain county that you want to look in and it's not a zip code, it's more broader than just a zip code, you would then type in the county name there and it will search for, there it is, Manatee. And now you're only searching in Manatee County, no zip code, no city. It will just search Manatee County, period. So that's very broad, or you can narrow it down to zip code. You can also narrow down your search beyond zip codes to subdivision. So you would put in the actual subdivision name there. So if it's
Mm.
Crestwind, you would put it there. Now it's searching for active home between 200 to 500 price point, three bedrooms or more, two bathrooms or more in Crestwood. And I didn't give it as I didn't even give it a zip code, but let's give it a zip code just to make sure it's the right Crestwood, Crestwind rather. And look, there's none in there. So it all depends on because there is no Crestwind for that price. There's no price so that I knew that was out of the area.
Right.
So that's how you kind of set it up. If it's a one story or two-story home, if you say they only want a one story or they definitely want a two-story, then this is where you click the floors right there. Two stories only, one stories only. If you hit control that thing, now nothing in that box is clicked, which means that it will show you both. Two story, one story, doesn't matter. It will show you all the stories because nothing is clicked in that box. It's important also when you're searching over on the left side of the screen over here, when it talks about the style of home. This is important to click the right box, single family residence, because that is important that you're only looking at, because you only want to look at, you're not trying to look at condos, you're not trying to look at townhomes or villas. If you only want single family, then that button needs to be clicked because then it's going to show you mobile homes, condos, it's going to
Mm.
show you everything. So it's important when you do your search that you also pick and determine what type of home, the style of home that you're looking for in that search. So with that, that's it. If it's a condo, then there are other things that you do. If you need a garage, then you would put it in there. Now there are other custom fields that you could add. If you come down here towards the bottom of your search screen, I, I have screens here of CDOM. This is days on market. If you o- occupancy type, is it vacant? All of this stuff you can add. These are customs that you determine. And to figure out what they are, you can go here and hit add or remove. You click the add or remove button, and you see all the various types of custom searches that you could add into your search. Once you add this, this is there for all your search. It doesn't mean that you've clicked it. It's just that you know it's there. I always want to, these are things that I use, so I keep them there. And if there's something like I don't care about, does it CDD, yes or no? I can remove that or leave it there. I want to know because some searches I need to, some people ask, I don't want any property that has a CDD. Some people, it doesn't matter, that those type of things. Um, so all these things I have as custom features in my search that you can build out at your discretion to whatever you want. And you can add them, take them away. They don't affect your search until you click it. They're
Gotcha.
always down at the very bottom of your search down here. And see, none of them are clicked but they're always here in case I need it. Because sometimes I have a client that they're looking for. They say, don't give me anything with any CDD. That's when I come down here and say no to CDDs. Make
Hmm.
sense?
Yep.
But in most cases, I just leave it blank because it doesn't matter. It wasn't something that came up that the client says, I don't want it. That's not something specific. But I have, these are just the custom searches that I put into my search, and I don't always use them, but they're at the very bottom, and I add the ones that are that I more frequently use. Like for instance, some people say HOA. I don't want one. Well, HOA requirement, none. So I have to come down here and say HOA requirement, none. So it's a feature that I don't always use, but it's down there in case that I'm creating a search for someone and they want me to have a search that doesn't include HOA, I would click that button, or they say, or it's an optional or required because I want an HOA because that keeps consistency and my property values up. They're not looking for freedom, they're looking for consistency and increased value. Well, then I want something where it's required, those type of things. Does this make sense so far?
Absolutely. Yes.
Very good. All right. So that's how you kind of set it up to create a search. Once you have done this and you have created and you've put in all the various criteria that you're looking for, in this case, I am looking for a house that's between 3 to 500. It's single family residence. It's within this zip code. It has 3 or more bedrooms, 2 or more bathrooms. It's 1,900 square feet and more. And when I put just those criterias in alone, look, it shows at the bottom that I have 17 matches. So when I click result, it takes me to those 17 homes that match that particular criteria. I can narrow it down some by saying I only want in a certain subdivision, or I want it. But if I want a broader search, then I keep it the way it is. And now I have 17 options for my buyer that fits their price point, fits their zip code that they're looking for, and the bedroom and bathroom and the square footage requirement. And now I've come up in my market. I have these are 17 options. Now, if I want to email this to them, I would then go and then say at the very bottom here, I hit save. So I'm saving this search. Not necessarily the properties, but I'm saving this particular search and I'm going to save it for a person. And I'm going to hit, I want to do a new email that I'm sending out this property alert to a client. So in here, I've already created the client that I'm going to send it to. And in this case, it's to my new client, Wanda Mills. So I've already created these are already content because remember the first thing we talked about is when you uh, is how to create a contact because there are an existing contact. I would then say I want to that's who I'm sending this property to. Now, if I forgot to do the contacts, it says right here, create a
Mm.
new contact. I can click that button right there and create the new contact for them right there, and then it would go to that person. But in this case, I'm not going to go through that because we already did that before. I can always have it click that it's going. I get a copy of whatever I'm sending to this property to this client. I would put in whatever subject line or I want to. In this case, I say your property search results would go there, and then it would begin to send out, how I want it done. So it would show if you look down at the very bottom. Whoops, I moved here. If if you see at the very bottom, it's going to send them an email 7 days a week of properties that fit this particular criteria coming from me. If you notice up there, my signature line has all my information. You can edit
Yep.
this signature portion of the email so
So
that when
you type in there what you want to say to them.
exactly the actual body of the email is done for you right here.
Oh, beautiful.
Don't have to write a note there. You can, but you don't have to. The note, it says, I've created a new search, save search for you using blah, blah, blah. Here are the properties. But the signature port is what you can edit. It says, edit your signature. So I have it already there that there is my signature. I can edit all this stuff, take out or add whatever I want, but that is my signature. So edit that portion. This portion right under criteria describes what you search you created, and down at the very bottom describes how often you're going to send them an email. You can limit it to just 1 day a week. I'm going to send them properties every Wednesday, or send them properties every other day. I'm going to
Hmm.
send them property every Sunday. It's not going to be an everyday thing. But in most cases, I'm just sending them to all, unless their search. If they're not going to buy, they tend to, we're not really looking to buy anything within the next year or two. I don't send it to them every day. That's too much. I may send them maybe twice a week or once a week, one
But it
day
keeps your
out of
name
the
in
week.
front of them.
Just depends. Exact. Then when I hit save, it creates that search and sends them that email. And then it will send them as often as you click that button. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Very good. So in this case, I won't hit save because I am not going to send one of these cards, and I'm gonna um, stop saving my search for just a second, and